And those are the types of hooks that I think you build campaigns over, because whether you have a noble patron or the proprietress of the old Zoblob shop who helps you out with quests and things and healing, or points you in the right direction for stuff that you might need to further the plot or the campaign. It's those NPCs that are the movers and shakers, etc. And so in Waterdeep, if you're wandering around Dockward, she might take a fancy to you guys and like the look of that adventuring company, and might provide some assistance out of the blue that you weren't expecting. And so it's always a good hook for a DM.
And that you wish she hadn't given.
Well, yeah, often the case.
Let me ask the question this way, Ed. So you're in Dockward, and your players are like, "No, we go left," and you're rapidly looking at the map, and if they'd gone right, you've got 6 different establishments to tell them about, but they happen to pick the one street that there's nothing on the street. What would you do?
Like Zastrow Street.
There you go.
Well,
the doors are all locked.
if you've been building up this cast of NPCs that I was talking about earlier, when I was talking about it being like a sitcom, that's when your cast of NPCs can burst on the scene, or one of them can, and involve them organically in an adventure. Quick, I need help. Come. You gotta come and help me.
Mother B needs your help.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
So it looks like Ed was running the Truman Show before the film ever being released.
That's right.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Adventurers getting too nosy over here, please. Send in the children. Send in the children.
Right.
Yep. You bet.
Yeah.
And
Which member of the Watch is most like Columbo with the hard question? Yeah.
Just one more thing.
One more question for you. See, what gets me about the Waterdeep, I don't think new players, or even players who've been playing for a few years, realize how freaking big it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, when you look at these streets, and there's probably not, not just Dockward, but just the Trade Ward, Dockward, and Southward altogether, there's probably not a 30-second of all the buildings have something in it that they can use.
Yep.
The rest of it is open to the players.
Yep.
So
I remember discussing with Jeff Grubb very briefly after the first Volo's Guide had come out, which was, Volo's Guide to Waterdeep. And he said, I'm really pleased with how this came together. And I said, so am I, considering how quickly it got done, and how much mapping there was involved, and and therefore it was a pain in the patoot product for TSR, because there was lots of placement of graphics on the right page. All of those little headaches. And he said, yeah, I'm really pleased with how this turned out. And I said, yeah, so am I. And he said, I heard a but in that sentence. And I said, well, yeah, if we were doing it properly, Volo's Guide to Waterdeep would be, those sets of Encyclopedia Britannica bound in leather, where if you paid for the whole set, they gave you the atlas and the wooden piece of furniture that the atlas went in, and all the set at the end. And he said, yeah. And I said, well, Volo's Guide to Waterdeep would be like that. I'm thinking about 60 volumes, gilt-edged with a little cloth ribbon bookmark in each one. And at the end would be a concordance, which was a super index. And then we would bring out annual update. Go in, and he looked at me and said, I love it. And he says, it's a good reason you're not running a games company. But I would have loved Volo's Guide to, and I'm actually working on a completely different product, not in the realms, for Fate of the Norns, the Viking role-playing game. We're doing Ask Cleas, which is Viking era Dublin. In real world history, the Vikings did conquer what became Dublin, and ruled there for a few years. And it's going to be a much smaller city, but I am trying to detail the contents of every building.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So that every building has at least one character in it, and their dirty secret. You know what they're really like. And so, therefore, if you know what they're really like and you know their dirty secret, the dungeon master can very easily extrapolate on the fly anything. Okay, so if a player character attacks this guy, or if a player character throws a rotten apple at this guy, you just look down at what's on the page and you know what this guy is likely going to do.
Mhm.
So you've got enough role-playing stuff, and each one of them comes with a physical description. So you've got enough to, if you're not a dungeon master who's used to ham acting, or every one of your innkeepers sounds the same. You know, they all, can I help you? You know, and it's stock innkeeper number 36. You know,
What do you want?
yeah. What do you want?
I hate spunk.
Usual. We don't serve gnomes here.
Oh, it's a good establishment.
It's a good
There we go. Yeah, but it gives you enough to run on. Anyway, enough tangenting. But that's what I'm trying to do with that. And my dream would be to have Wizards of the Coast phone me tomorrow and say, Ed, here's several $1 million. Please spend the next 10 years of your life doing Volo's Guides to Waterdeep. There's no page count limit. Just detail every
Everything.
building.
Ah, the Boyd deal. I get it.
Good deal. That's right. That's right.
Hey, you know, it's fun to be able to go on tangents of tangents of tangents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look where it gets us. Quality stuff where they don't serve gnomes. No.
Exactly.
So,
All right.
so the next time we do this, we're discussing the Warrens, correct? Because it's going to be full of gnomes.
That's right.
I think I'm.
And we'll have the Warrens Commission.
Oh,
Ooh.
I think I was
blew the
sick that
dust off
day.
of Ompar again. He was a fun character to play with.
I'm definitely sick that day.
Oh dear.
Nobody
So-
knows.
The trouble.
So, I mean, one trick that I've seen help. I mean, it's better if you can kind of really work stuff out like you're doing, Ed. But oftentimes what I have a hard time coming up with is, you know, that one sentence NPC on the fly, you know, in the moment when something's happening. And so sometimes I find it's useful to just make a list.
Yep.
Right? You don't know where they're going to
Yep.
come up. You don't know, and you might even mix and match off your list. But basically, have a couple business names, have a couple like NPC names, and their one sentence shtick. Like he's the guy with 7 daggers or whatever it is.
When I started running Waterdeep for the Company of Crazed Ventures in 1978, as well as the map, the master map of the city, and all the dungeons and stuff, I had one sheets. There was a one sheet that had a line just drawn down the center, and it was male given names, and then the bottom half there was a sheet across it with surnames, female given names and surnames. And that was one sheet, and the other one was just what you say, a page of descriptions of people with what they were carrying and what they were wearing. And I also had done what I called dungeon dressing, but it wasn't necessarily the drop torch, the puddle of spilled oil and so on. It was dungeon dressing for a city street. Stuff that was going on. Trash that had been trodden underfoot. You know, the gum that we all remember from the 1960s. But the banana peel or whatever. But if you went through a Chinatown in a real world city, there would be interesting vegetables and their things as things got on, crates got opened and things got unpeeled, and things were being sold in their crates on the sidewalk, and you'd go, oh, this is interesting, and it's different from what I see in my suburb. Well, in the same way, you'd have stuff that would be interesting, so that you could do the cliche movie scene. You know, there's always a chase scene in a city, and there's always a complete cart or wagon full of oranges or apples that gets smashed all over the thing and underfoot. Okay, you'd have all that stuff ready, so you could just describe it as if it was unfolding. You didn't have to make anything up on the fly, because then you could concentrate as a dungeon master on the unfolding story that the players were telling, and keep the pacing going on the story, so they were really enjoying what was unfolding, because you didn't have to make any of the stuff up on the fly. You could just run with it, and you could concentrate on the story and entertaining them with the proper pacing, with the proper funny voices. Oh, the penguin on top of your TV is a matrix.
Look, that cultist of Sleen has slipped on one of the oranges and fallen into the mud.
Drowned in a butt of Malmsey. Oh, not again. Quick, sell that barrel. They'll pay extra for that. It has a certain something. Gnomes will drink that and love it.
That's not worth anything.
Oh, no. No, maybe a gnome catapult. That's good.
Nobody knows.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, there you go. So, is there any more questions I can give wrong answers to? I mean, God, I sound like a politician. I'm hearing it in an inquiry. Are there any other questions I can give the wrong answer?
What is the average airspeed velocity of a water Davian griffin? Heavily laden with an armored guard on him.
A European griffin?
No, water
African or European?
Yeah.
Water Davian or Impulturan?
Yeah.
There you go.
Griffins there.
We don't talk about Impultor.
We don't talk about Impultor.
Nobody talks about Impultur.
Yes, exactly. And we like it that way.
We're on a mission for Gond.
For Gond? Oh my God. Oh my
Oh,
God.
We're on the docks.
Windshield.
Oh, there
We're
you
on
go.
the
There's a
docks.
question that popped up. Does Waterdeep still have Griffin riders?
Yes,
I guess
it
they're
does.
talking about 5th edition.
Yes, it does.
They're building them up now, aren't they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Later,
do
was trying to bring them back.
Yep.
Piece by piece, like Legos.
Oh.
Yes, they do, is the short answer.
That
Short answer.
reminds me, that neighborhood that was creeping up the sides of Mount Waterdeep, is that still there, or has that been papered over again?
It has been largely permitted out of existence. As in, it's time to move out.
Which
We're
one is
condemning
that?
your
Is that
building.
on the north side or the east side?
That would be the east side,
Yeah.
that had those turn-back courts with the where all the stray dogs would congregate and so forth.
Oh.
Yeah, that's being permitted out of existence. Like, I'm afraid your building is being condemned. Here are the taxes back, and please move out by nightfall.
Mhm.
But I built it very well. It can't fall down. Oh, really? Spell
Mhm.
gets cast, building falls down.
Yeah.
We beg to differ.
Or it's just, oh, well, we've needed a new stable for the Griffins, so this is
Yep.
where they're going to be,
Yep, that's right. Expropriation is alive and well in Waterdeep. It's starting to happen
Okay.
in spades. Because we've reached the point at which, with Daggult Neverember and then coming out the other side of him, where the lords have already behaved
That
despicably.
sounds unpleasant.
So, yeah,
Doesn't it?
does, doesn't it? Yeah. So we've reached the stage where they say, "Oh, why not? We've already crossed that bridge. We've already behaved. We've already meddled in public. So why not? If we did it for bad reasons, we can now do it for good reasons. And this is a good reason. So your building is going away.
Mhm.
Is Castle Waterdeep considered part of Dock Ward?
No, it's
part of
part of
Castle
Castle Ward.
Castle.
I'm looking here, but the map I'm looking at has it on the very bottom of Castle Ward.
Yeah, it is.
It is okay because there was.
But it is Castle Ward.
But it's like across Waterdeep Way, but I thought it would have been farther up. I thought I remembered it being farther up. I guess. I'm wrong.
But you see, it doesn't really matter because it's a civic building.
Right.
So,
right.
and the only people who are really worried about what ward you're in are the civic people who want to tax you and so on. For everybody else, it doesn't really matter. So it's off the table for that. So it doesn't,
Oh, okay.
and it's not like you can say, well, I have a more exclusive address. I live in Castle Waterdeep. Oh, you're in prison, are you?
The maps in Stephen's City of Splendors probably give you the best idea of ward boundaries, and they've got that little pink dash dot line that goes around. And what I'd never twigged to till literally 5 seconds ago, is that the little section along the docks where Mert's mansion is, for example, is part of Castle Ward. It's not part of Dock Ward, which is really interesting.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Castle Ward stretches all the way across across to the Griffin. Is that correct? The Griffin, the Lady of Dreaming.
It goes all the way to the left to where looking at it says Smuggler's Dock. So I'm assuming Mert's got his own little dock in there. So
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
I was just going to say he's right on Smuggler's Dock. It's like his bay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's Dock Ward Castle Ward sneaks around the outcrop, including the castle, obviously, and goes a little bit to the left to include bits of the dock area, which makes sense because that's the naval harbour where Waterdeep's Navy is. So it's kind of part of Castle Ward, I'm assuming.
Yep. Wahaha.
It's like you planned it that way.
Yeah, almost.
Almost like it was contrived.
Shh. Damn it! You'll give away all my trade secrets.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say they'll think I know what I'm doing next.
No,
I can't have that.
No, I was actually looking at the interactive map that we had found. It doesn't give us clear of a delineation between the wards, but
If you put on screen sharing, I can show what we were looking at there.
you should be able to share. Do you got the green button down there at the bottom?
No, I do, but it says host disabled.
Oh, is it? Oh, well, for you, maybe. I don't know.
After that last podcast, right?
That's right. After the last one.
All the
Thank
dismembered
you, everybody.
gnomes.
Good night.
Try it now. Can you do it? We'll do it now.
Try it now.
Yeah, I can do it now. Hang on.
Try it now. We'll watch.
Lift the
We'll
switch,
watch.
Igor. Lift the switch.
Why isn't that showing?
Kick it. So you work in IT, Eric, I understand.
Hey,
Turn the world off and turn it back on again. That usually.
Yeah, turn it off and turn it on.
So we
too soon, George. Too soon.
figured out why it took him a week to fix that problem the other day.
Oh, hey, there we go.
Yeah. So you see here, this little line, that's showing you the to the left of it. That is also Castle Ward there.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, all of the Mount Waterdeep is out of the hands of Dock Ward.
Yeah.
Really?
So it
Wow.
kind of
Oh, I see.
sneaks
There it
along
is.
over here,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And that part kind of comes along here and into here.
Yep.
So you do definitely have a little bit of Dock Ward. Let's see if I can fix this one.
It's upside down.
Flip,
Flip over.
flip. There we go. That's north-south. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There we go. That's a little better. That's a little better.
Oh, look at that.
You can make it look really nice, even in a PDF. There we go.
I'm so glad I actually have the print map because it's less confusing.
Yes.
Yeah, so Castle Ward, it's everything from
Yeah, a lot
over
of-
here around Peer Garen's
Yep.
castle
Yep.
all the way up to it's Jelthun Street, right?
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, because they are keeping all the civic buildings and anything that could, where somebody could
All the
try
way down
and,
to here, yeah.
yeah, they don't want it. They don't want people digging in their cellar and being able to intersect the tunnels in Mount Waterdeep.
Whose place is that to the west of
Mert?
That's
the west of Mertz?
That one there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Ah, that's NDA.
Yeah.
It's the House of Two
Of
Hands.
course it is.
It's the House of
Because-
Two Hands. House of Two
Because
Hands.
somebody, because
It's-
Mary had a little chat with me about that, because somebody wanted to do a Stately Home murder mystery as a novel. I don't think it ever happened.
So
Okay.
that's Norless Droon's abode.
So,
Isn't that a
the
monastery?
Agatha Christie
Yeah.
is, Downton Abbey, huh?
Well, I'm assuming it was going to be the fourth book in the series, Murder in Cormier, Murder in wherever, so it's going to be Murder in Waterdeep.
I thought that
Those
was the House of Two
Detective,
Hands.
those detective novels they did.
Oh, could have been.
Hmm.
Murder in Waterdeep.
Order of the monastery, Order of the Even-Handed. I'm serious. My map says House of Two Hands.
And this is a family podcast, so we
So
won't.
back to the gnomes. Back to the gnomes.
So you're,
Good night, everybody.
so you're standing on the docks, and both of your hands are occupied.
How long does it take to drown a gnome in Waterdeep Harbor?
Depends how mad you are, I guess.
Well, I think
good
we've
is your throw.
I think
How many
we've finally
hooks are
got
you
to the
using?
point now. We've got to the point now, Ed, where you have to talk to us and tell us what Slut Street is all about.
There you go. You can't figure that
Okay.
one out?
This is
Can
very
you believe-
interesting.
Can you believe Jim Ward tried to get me to change that when he saw that on the poster map,
Yep.
and it was in blue lines? It's like, we've already published it with that name at least 3 times before this box set.
And Andrea Hayday laughed at the corner of Fish and Ship Street, and she said, "Ha ha," at that. And then when she saw Slut Street, she said, she circled it and said, "Ed," and I said, I explained to her that to British people of a certain age, slut had nothing to do with sexual. It meant somebody who was slovenly and dirty. It did. It had no sexual thing at all.
Mhm.
If
Where-
you
where
went
is
back,
it?
It's running parallel. No, to the right. Go right. It's close to the border. And then
Turn for
Yeah.
Book Street.
Oh, there it is. I was looking for
Yeah.
smaller words.
yeah,
Oh,
No,
they
it's,
changed it on mine.
it's
yeah,
between the Way of the Dragon and Snail Street.
Yeah, no, well, mine says Zastrow Street.
yeah. They have decided that they are going to censor the realms for public.
Oh,
But you and I know that it's really Slut Street.
Slut Street.
And so, what did it mean, Ed? We cut you off before you finished.
Oh no, someone who was a slut was a woman, but it was a filthy, dirty woman. As in, usually it meant somebody who made a living in the streets. It did not have anything to do with sex at all. It had to do with the fact that you were usually dirty.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
In
me ask-
other words, you did a dirty job
Let
to
me ask
earn a
you.
living.
Let me ask you this question, Ed. The
Yeah.
unlabeled streets. Do they have
Yes.
names or
Yep.
not?
Every single one of them has names. Now, in many of these cases, like I'm just looking at what you've got up here. Many of these cases, the bit that is named continues for quite a distance in the bit that isn't named.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
a lot of them don't have new and exciting names. They're a continuation of something that's named, but every single one of these things, like if you look between the Slut Street and the Way of the Dragon, in that long block from
Yeah.
Phillip Lane going up, that alleyway that you're running up and down, that has a name, and so does the one that loops off of it, like to the east. Yeah, that one. They all have names because the watch needed to be able to tell somebody, third building, north front, Coin Alley. And there could be no room for unnamed things. They
Okay.
had to be able to pinpoint everything. And in the same way that if you go to 1800s and early 1900s America, there are fire insurance maps of every
Mhm.
village and town and whatever.
Mhm.
Every property is named on them because every building was what the map existed for, to tell you this building, not that building, or there's an uninsured building between those two buildings, that sort of thing. So it had to be down at that level. So everything is named, but they didn't all make it on. And that's not TSR's fault, because a lot of the things weren't on the maps that I sent them, and everything was being published so dang fast.
Mhm.
They were being put together so fast. They didn't have time, and probably didn't have the interest, let's face it, to come back to me and said, hey, is there a name for this one? Is there a name for that one? Then
Yep.
later on in the city system, we got all sorts of things named for TSR staffers
Right. Right.
on the city system maps. But yeah, all of these things had names.
All right.
And
Let me ask you then a question. So, like, right where I've got my cursor here, we've
Yep.
got buildings back to back. So
Yep.
those are clearly separate establishments.
Yes.
If I was to go down like this alley over here,
Yeah.
am I seeing new storefronts that share a building, or am I seeing the back doors of the buildings that are on the major street?
You're usually seeing the back doors of what's on the more major street, and you're also seeing lots of dwellings here.
Mhm.
Okay, like
Okay.
people live in them. They're 3 stories high, if that. And somebody might be doing a fiddle business out of the room they live in, and they may live
Okay.
in an upper room. But so it's not officially a business with a signboard or whatever. It's where people live. But you know that if you want to get your knives sharpened, you go to this guy between dawn and dusk, because
And
his
so-
neighbors would kill him if he starts doing that in the middle of the night.
And so even this little alley, which
Yep.
is just back doors, is still going
Yep.
to have a name, though.
Yes, it's going to have a name for the watch. And by the way, notice at the end of the alley, go pull your cursor down to the cul-de-sac end. No,
Oh,
the
here,
other
yeah.
alley. Go
Other
up.
way,
No,
up
yeah,
the hook.
there.
There.
See that building at the end that your arrow is now obscuring because it's on top of it? Yeah,
Yep.
that
That's
one
only
fronts on the
reach-
alley.
The little one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That one's
it
not
fronts,
reachable elsewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, it fronts on the alley. All you see is a little segment of its back wall on the more major thoroughfare outside.
Yep. Okay. So there
And there's-
is a reason to go in there
Oh yeah,
for
Oh,
a
yeah.
shop that's really hard to get to.
yeah, and because you have to wind your way all the way in there, if you're a watch patrol, that's a great place to put a fence for stolen goods because he has
Ah.
plenty of warning that somebody's coming.
La 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 la.